Ben Franklin Project is an initiative begun by our CEO, John Payton, who asked all of the dailies in the Journal Register company chain to produce one issue of the paper without using any of our proprietary software. That includes Photoshop. Here it includes a program called Alpha, which is our main news program. Other papers use other programs, but they're all very expensive, very proprietary systems, and he wanted to see if we could do it all with free tools on the internet for one issue.
What the Ben Franklin Project is about is an effort by Journal Register Company to use entirely different approaches to putting out a newspaper. Instead of using proprietary software, stuff that we have used for many, many years and have gotten used to, the idea has been to knock newspaper people off of their squares and make them do something different.
For me as a page designer, it's really a different way of what tools we're using to paginate the page, which would be designing the page, writing the headlines, editing the copy, that sort of thing. It's just a different program to do it with.
Actually, the only difference really is using the different software. Well, I don't want to say it's not that much different. It's different in that I don't format it the same way, and it's not filed the same way. That doesn't really affect how I write it, though.
On the Ben Franklin project, the big thing we're doing for photo, instead of using proprietary Photoshop, we're using GIMP. That's the biggest difference. And I will also be sending from the field.
Content is actually probably the bigger part of this, and it's the cooler part for readers. From the reader side, though, we are doing a lot of crowdsourcing or working with the readers to decide not only what we ought to cover, but what they think are the biggest issues, and to gain their input into all of our stories for that day.
I am working on a story on the worst intersections in our coverage area, primarily Isabella County, but there are some in Gratiot and Clare County. The information gathering is different in that we sought comments from people, our readers, on what they thought were the worst intersections in the county. I was surprised at how many people responded. And you know, that's a topic that people like to talk about, where it sticks in their mind. They remember a bad accident somewhere. And yeah, it was, you know, if you go to the police to ask, hey, where's the worst intersections, they're going to pull out data. And it's going to be correct information, but coming from readers, they come up with different areas that are not necessarily the worst intersections, but because they may live in the area or saw something, a horrible accident there, they remember that spot. Our secondary package for the 4th is a user-generated story about Girl Scouts, and I've previously shot that already, and I'm actually toning that in GIMP right now.
Well, it's already completed. It's the Girl Scout story that I crowdsourced through Facebook. I went onto the Morning Sun Facebook site and put my name that I was looking for people who were involved in Girl Scouting, and I put the phrase, once a Girl Scout, always a Girl Scout, and I got the specialist for the Heart of Michigan, I guess it would be council, contacted me. Actually, she got a hold of Jeremy because I didn't put my phone number on there, so that's how she contacted me.
Essentially what I'm working on, obviously, is the weather page for the print edition, and I'm working on a follow-up from C-Click Fix, and looking at the and looking in particular at the fact that the area that was most complained about on C-Click Fix, which is Isabella Road, in the 2-mile stretch of Isabella Road between Pickard and Baseline Road, that the bidding on that is actually going to be taking place on Friday, and construction on that is going to be beginning later on this summer.
Well, I think it made us more organized. We were, right from the start, wanted to make sure that we had good stories and had everything in on time. You certainly don't want to have something falling through the cracks at the last minute on any weekend, let alone this weekend. And there's also the aspect of the crowdsourcing, getting stories that the readers had a lot of input in. So probably a month, 6 weeks ago, we started brainstorming those ideas and got everyone working on it. And each week we're updating that, talking about that, coming up with ideas.